Peace and love, everyone. It's your girl, Karina. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so excited to do a few lives for you. It's going to be important. This first one is about your midheaven. So, what is a midheaven? A midheaven is the top of your chart, the very, very top of your chart. Okay. The top of your chart tells you about your career. Okay. But it also tells you about your legacy. This is very important because if you are stuck in your career or in a job that you're not familiar with, the top of your chart will help to bring you a grand vision for yourself and help you to navigate whatever it is that you want to do in life, how to do it. Okay. So, a lot of people will ask me, what is my career? What is my career supposed to be? Well, what do you want it to be? What do you want to become? It is through your 10th house that you can create that strategy. The 10th house shows you how you leave your legacy. Okay. So I know that a lot of people want this to be a career video, and maybe in a part two, I could do that. But what I want to do is show you how to find your legacy, your career, how to find it through the 10th house, through the midheaven. So the thing that we have to understand is that this is a Saturnian ruled placement, the 10th house. It is naturally Capricorn energy. It is the attic to your birth chart. It is the top of the chart. So a lot of it is about understanding your higher self, right? The mature part of you, the part of you that is wise but still learning and is seeking a true heaven. In fact, I think this is why it's called the midheaven. I don't know the exact origins of the naming, but the idea of a midheaven or a midheaven is that this is something that you're striving towards. And this is why Capricorn itself is an energy about climbing a mountain, about being successful, about striving towards something. So your midheaven tells you something that you are really striving towards. It tells you what your heaven would be on this third dimension, third dimensional physical plane. Okay. And this is the part of the secrets to unlocking your midheaven and understanding what that is. Okay. So, how do you find your midheaven? It's going to be initialed MH on your birth chart. It will be somewhere on the top of the birth chart. Certain charts will have different angles, but it will be the cusp of your 11th house. Okay. This is one of the stronger placements in your chart because all of the angular houses would be a very strong placement because they initiate that quarter or that slice of the pie. So your first house, your fourth house, your seventh house, and your 10th house are your strong houses, your angular houses, and they also oppose each other and conflict with each other because they're so strong. So in understanding all the angles, you can really grasp how important the midheaven is because it is an accumulation of your challenges, of your oppositions, of your enemies, of your adversities, and how you have gotten to where you have gotten or where you're going due to these challenges. Okay. So if you're joining me in the chat or if you are watching the replay, go ahead and comment below what is your midheaven, what is the zodiac sign that's there, and do you have any planets there? If you do, maybe we'll have to make a part 2 and 3 talking about the planets in the midheaven or on the 10th house cusp. So let's begin with Aries, okay? So if you have Aries on your 10th house, your legacy is about going after what you want and pioneering yourself towards that, which means that wherever you find Aries in the chart, it's not about looking at what has already happened or what someone has already done. It's a place about discovering something brand new, a new path, a new way in which other people could follow you and do the same thing. So, Aries in the 10th house is going to be someone who leaves a legacy behind of something brand new that they are creating. And so, in this life, you're working towards creating that new path. And what Aries in the 10th house provides is people who want to follow right behind you, who want to do those same things, you know what I'm saying, in order to get that. A lot of people who have Aries in the 10th house or Mars in the 10th house, people are going to pretty much follow your steps, mock what you do, because you have created a new way in which they can express themselves, they can show themselves, they can find their way to success through the avenue that you created. So, with Aries in the 10th house, you're a pioneer in your legacy. You may be the first in your family to do certain things, like maybe go to school or start a business or something like that. So, yes, Aries in the 10th house, Midheaven, is all about your heaven on this third dimensional, being about starting new things. You might find that you're challenged because you want to, collaborate with other people, and that requires you to be compromising. You may find that your challenges are also about dealing with your family and how your family will be portrayed because you are creating this new legacy. These come from all of the angular houses challenging Aries in the 10th house. So you're going to have to discover for yourself how to finesse that, how to finesse keeping your family happy, keeping your partnerships happy, so that you can move in this brand new direction. Okay, Aries in the 10th house may have the hardest times trying to find people to look up to. Maybe they didn't see that anything was there. There was no example of what they wanted to create out there for them. So look at where you're frustrated and see what is it that you feel is missing in your industry, in the field that you're trying to break through, and fill that missing lane, right? That is Aries in the 10th house. Welcome, welcome. Yay. Yes, Aries in the 10th house is in the building. Thank you guys so much. Okay, so let's move on to Taurus in the 10th house. So, Taurus in the 10th house. Taurus is a sign of sensuality, of enjoyment, of just relaxing and basking. So Aries in the I mean sorry, Taurus in the 10th house is all about enjoying the career um state, which means like everything about this is about Saturn and working hard. Okay, and Taurus is about enjoying things. So Taurus in your 10th house is about enjoying how hard you're going to have to work, enjoying the heavy load. There's some people out there that really like having piles and piles of things on their desk because they know that, the more that they work down on it, the more that they take care of things. There's like a fulfillment in finishing something. Okay, so Taurus in the 10th house enjoys this load, they enjoy this hard work, and they're here to finish something, and that's a part of their legacy, is to see it through to the end. So in a lot of ways they may take off from the Aries 10th house, and for them it's about taking that idea and making it everlasting, making it evergreen, making it, something that people can enjoy and hold on to for years to come, or just finishing and completing an idea. So where you have Taurus in your 10th house, you're here to complete something. So you want to look for the things in your industry that have already started, that have already begun, right? And they started with good ideas, but it fell apart or it fell through. And for you, you can be the one that either creates a new avenue in which you're finishing that, or taking over something and finishing it. The whole idea with Taurus is completion, okay? And enjoying the completion, adding the decor, adding the je ne sais quoi, adding the sensualities that really make it enticing, that make people want to eat it, want to enjoy it. So you can apply that metaphor to anything in whatever career that you want. But if you have Taurus in the 10th house, you really want to apply those ideas and concepts towards whatever industry that you want to take over. Okay. So if the midheaven is your heaven on the third dimension, then Taurus in the 10th house, your heaven is about seeing yourself do the work and finish it, and taking so much brag and pride into that, like bragging about it, like I did it. That's such a big thing for Taurus in the 10th house, because the challenges that they overcome with the family, with collaboration, is something that they don't have too much of a difficulty in doing. So all they have to do is see it to the end. Okay? Don't take too much time to finish, and try to propel yourself forward in order to do it. Sometimes you're going to want to lay back and chill and rest, and that's really important, but you're also going to need to get back in there and continue the work. So Taurus in the 10th house, this is how you leave your legacy. Hello, welcome, welcome, Jasmine, welcome, Stellar, Goddess Lilith, Red Sand, Autumn, welcome, everyone. We're moving into our Midheaven series, and we're talking next about Gemini in the 10th house. So, if you have Gemini in the 10th house, this is a place of commerce. Okay, the 10th house is your career, but it's your legacy, it's your heaven on earth. Achieving the 10th house would make life so much better. But it requires a lot of challenges, a lot of oppositions. And Gemini, you're the one who kind of creates challenges for people and oppositions, because you can be the devil's advocate. So there's something about that when applied to the career, you are here to not be liked when it comes to your legacy. And there's something about that you're going to have to accept, because of the fact that you can see all sides, and sometimes you choose a side that everybody is really not wanting, but sometimes you have to, because you need people to see the truth that they are denying something, or they're trying to run away from the truth or something like that. Where Gemini is in the 10th house, this is about speaking truth. And wherever Gemini is in your chart, it's about speaking truth. But in the 10th house, it's through reputation, it's through your legacy. This might mean creating something that really shows the light, or shows the investigation of what you have learned in life, a memoir, or something like that, that is beefy enough for people to understand. The thing about Gemini, like I said, is that it's not always the most loved sign like Taurus is. Mercury energy can sometimes be too much for people. It can be maybe too annoying, too agitating, So there are things about you that you're going to have to accept when it comes to the legacy that you leave behind. You'll have to understand that you're not going to be everyone's taste, but everyone will be watching you. Everyone will be digesting you, even if you're an acquired taste. You have a lot to say, so this is not that people are not going to listen, but they just might not like what they hear. And that's the approach and understanding that energy in the 10th house. If the 10th house is your heaven on earth, if the 10th house is your heaven in this third dimension, then success for you and legacy for you will be about being truthful no matter what, making that your end game. And sometimes it is through disruption that you gain the most attention. So you don't have to worry about quantity. Quantity is definitely available for you to know, for people to know who you are. It's just getting through the fact that they may not all like what you stand for or represent. But the people that do support you, they're going to be even more loyal, because you've niched them down. You've put them into a very distinct box that makes them feel tied to the past and the future. So, Gemini in the 10th house, that is your legacy. Yay, welcome, welcome. Okay, so the next is going to be Cancer in the 10th house. Cancer in the 10th house. Well, if the 10th house is where Saturn is, Cancer is a moon energy. And so this can be very challenging, because all of your emotions are on the table for people to see. And Cancer being an energy that likes to shelter itself, your legacy is going to be about the story about you that is unprotected. Your legacy about you is going to be the parts of you that are the most vulnerable, the parts of you that are the most private. this can mean that you may get a lot of flack for being too emotional, being too sensitive out in the public view, right? You may get some flack about not being a hard ass, not being strong enough as well. You're so vulnerable wherever Cancer is in your chart. And in the 10th house, the house where you're the most exposed, you are very vulnerable, but at the same time extremely healing because of this vulnerability. People being able to see you tap into your own emotions allows them to do the same. And being a mothering, nurturing type of energy is also what helps you to get ahead in whatever industry and field you want to be in. See, the biggest thing is that the 10th house, a lot of astrology can say, oh, that's your career, and that can tell me what your career field is, but really it's how you got there. It's how people discovered who you are. That is beyond just the doing, because a lot of that doing we'll find in astrology in the 6th house of everyday work and job. But the 10th house is the accumulation of that doing. So whatever you want to do in life, you can do it. And I think that that really is important for Cancer because they have so much compassion, and they're known, the legacy becomes being known for being caring and loving, right? But you can also be very vulnerable for attacks, for defamation, for people to defame your character and the things that you've done and your legacy. So you have to be bigger than everything. Cancer in the 10th house, your compassion, your vulnerability has to be so prominent, has to be so present, so that when anybody tries to attack your character, that your legacy is just, it almost washes over them like a wave. That compassion, that people are just so much like, no, like that could never be them. I just love them so much. There's no way. I People know you. When people know you, when the public knows you, there's no way that anyone could defame that badly, because the people who know you, they know your character. So they know the things that they see about you, and they know even the parts of you that aren't always shown. They feel like they know you. And so that's kind of support. It's kind of like having a family. And so your heaven on earth is that the whole world is your family. The whole world is knows you, they support you, they love you like your parents would. And that brings you more ability to bring your talents out. You see, the 10th house is typically where if you go out and you show off your everything is so much more easier for you in leaving your legacy behind. So that's Cancer in the 10th house. The next one is going to be Leo in the 10th house. Energy that is all about entertainment and being like the star of the show. And typically, Leo in the 10th house would be that, an entertainer, a legacy of entertainment. That's one way of doing it, but Leo's also connected to romance. It's also connected to children. It's connected to our joys. And so, if Leo is in your 10th house, the way that you find your legacy and then leave it is to connect to children, even if you didn't have that great of a childhood. So, if you had a great childhood, this may be less challenging. Um, but if you had a more difficult childhood, this could be something that you may not want to remember, something that you may not want to address. And this may be why a lot of Leo people might not hit the heights of success or heaven that they want in this realm, especially if you have Leo in the 10th house. So a lot of the times you are striving to get your king or queen status, and even that can be difficult. You can have a lot of challenges when it comes to your confidence in your career and your legacy. And you're going to always have to remind yourself to renew that confidence in order to discover the heaven that you're seeking for. Confidence can be something that is built, can be something that you fake as well. And these are going to be some of the things that are part of your journey in whatever industry or field you decide to do, is to approach it with confidence, even if you aren't 100% the best, the most talented person in the room. If you're not the most experienced person in the room or the smartest person in the room, your confidence is what can gain you to go really far. The other thing with Leo and all fire signs in the 10th house is also having a lot of courage, because the Saturnian energy here will dull your light out. So having courage is like creating a new spark of fire. It's like discovering fire all over again. So with Leo in the 10th house, your heaven, right, on this physical plane is to maintain confidence. And when you are faltering at that, you're falling off your legacy. The biggest thing is to show even the people that are watching you, because this is such a public house, the Midheaven. The people that are watching you want to know how you got that confidence. So if you have a story about your fall or a story about your mistakes, you have to also have a story about how you got it back. That's got to be the thing. You can't disappear. Your legacy is about being everlasting, an everlasting fire, an everlasting spark in people's lives. And so it's really important that that is the path that you take. So you can't give up, basically. Don't give up. That's the message for Leo in the 10th house. And your heaven is using that confidence to not give up. Okay. So the next one would be Virgo. Now, Virgo in the 10th house is actually an interesting placement. It has the mercurial energy like Gemini, but it's a lot more sophisticated once we hit Virgo. So Virgo isn't always evidently the one that is causing mischief or the one that is causing, strife in people, because Gemini can be very polarizing. But what Virgo does is it does bring up the things that are dirty in this world. And when Virgo is in the 10th house, the whole legacy is about how you cleaned up everything, cleaned up what it is that people before you have left behind. So, maybe you're taking on the next person's seat. And the whole thing is about all of the mess that they left. And so your legacy will be about how is that you were able to make it better, to heal the industry that you're in, to help it detoxify, help it learn how to love again, basically discovering what are the things in your industry that are not in order, that are not organized, that are mm, toxic, even toxic behaviors, and really trying to accomplish that. The thing with Virgo in the 10th house is that Virgo's energy can sometimes be too much in this place of authority, because you have so much discernment, so much expectation, so much perfection that is pressuring you to get it right, that the authority figure or the boss, a Virgo boss, like a 10th house placement, might be so traumatizing to people, because it's almost like a micromanager. It's like always going in, always going after these things. So the biggest thing is about learning how to interact with people in a way that you communicate with them, but you give them space to make their mistakes, and then you go in and show them how to clean it up. And having this commitment to the fact that that's a part of the process that you're going to need to embrace, so that it's not becoming like this, strong control hold in which you're trying to make everybody do what you want and being frustrated that nobody can do it as good as you do it. Because wherever Virgo is, it's so much about being perfect, and it's like nobody can do it as well as you can. And that's simply not the case. A lot of the things are that they have different skills, talents, and abilities. So, being Virgo in the 10th house, you're going to have to, your heaven on earth is to not have so much expectation for people who work under you or who work with you, is to not have so much expectation that everyone is going to be perfect. Just as much as you inherit messiness and you're here to leave the legacy to clean it up, the people that are with you, they're also cleaning up. They're cleaning up themselves, they're cleaning up their karma. There's so much that is about learning from our mistakes with Virgo in the 10th house and having patience with that energy. So that's more of advice. But the biggest thing is your heaven on earth is finding an industry that you can clean up and getting your hands dirty and your broom and your mop, metaphorically, and making it happen. That's Virgo in the 10th house. Yay! Whoop whoop. Okay, so the next one is Libra in the 10th house. Now, Libra is like Taurus, an aesthetic sign that is about beauty, harmony, relationships, understanding. And so you utilize all of these things in order to create and manifest your legacy with the 10th house. Now, like I said, the 10th house is called the Midheaven or heaven. And so the 10th house is also heaven on earth for you. What is that thing for you that will make you feel alive, make you feel like you're doing something great, make you feel like you're doing a great accomplishment on life? And so it becomes heaven in the third dimension. And so for Libra, this is about creating beauty in life, making people beautiful, or making things beautiful, or making a philosophy that's beautiful is also possible here, because we are on the cusp of the ninth and the 10th house, the end of the ninth, the beginning of the 10th. And so philosophy becomes a big thing when we're talking about legacy from the ninth house. And I think that I could have talked about it more in the other placements, but with Libra, it starts to be more prominent, and moving forward, it starts to be even more apparent that it's your philosophy that is creating a more beautiful life, because it is your position on life and perspective on life that creates life to be what it is. Basically, you are creating reality. And in the 10th house, Libra, being an air sign but also ruled by Venus, the biggest thing is about creating a reality, a legacy, an industry, an organization, a business, or a company that is about beauty. And this can be beauty on the surface level, it could be about self love, self care beauty, or it could be about a mental beauty and seeing the higher octane of life and seeing how beautiful life is. You can look at the world and see all of the problems that are happening, or you can look at the world and still see that, you know, there are trees and there are big oceans, and claim that everything is still beautiful. Or the idea, there's a saying that goes, broken crayons can still color. This saying, I feel like, is so great for for Libra in the 10th house, because you are creating beauty. It goes to show that beauty is not what we think it is, and that even when things are broken, even when things have fallen apart, whether that's in a relationship or in a relationship with yourself or with somebody else, that something brand new can come out of it with the same person. You know what I'm saying? Because if it's a relationship with yourself, you can't break up with yourself. You have to move forward with you. So Libra and Saturn energy is everlasting relationships. And so Libra in the 10th house is about creating an everlasting relationship with you and the world, in which beauty is what you manifest together. You spin in your web in whatever industry that is. Okay. Now, thing also is that it's also about relationships. So, relationships also become a big thing with Libra in the 10th house, in which you may use your relationship to be a part of your legacy, even if you had difficulties in your relationship. And because this is an air sign, the communicative abilities is strong here, in which it's about teaching people about relationships through your own relationship mistakes, or building relationships, repairing relationships, or finding new relationships, like speed dating or putting things together. So relationships also becomes your heaven on earth. So with that being said, your heaven on earth is making everything beautiful and being a matchmaker for yourself to other people and other people to other people, creating this web, this network of the beauty that you want to see in the world. and repairing relationships, because our social world is the big thing with Libra. Libra is the part of the social media world that is like making sure that you look good before you present yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's about still adding the beauty to a four wall room. So you may just take over an industry and just add, lamps and decor, metaphorically adding your interior design to whatever industry you choose. Because without Libra, then the career is just very boring. It's very gray. The industry doesn't have anything aesthetically pleasing to look at. And this is what actually pulls a lot of people's attention as well. So with Libra in the 10th house, you also enjoy attention. You do enjoy it from people, and you there's like a glory in being in front of people with Libra in the 10th house. The more people that you're in front of, the more ability to relate and to create with others. Now, let's move on from Libra to Scorpio. And Scorpio in the 10th house is a very intense placement because Scorpio is intense, as we all know. And like I've said, the 10th house is where your midhaven is. So it's the heaven on earth for you. And Scorpio being this Plutonian energy, this Martian energy, combined with Saturn in the 10th house, your legacy is about being known as this person who went through strife, as this person who went through challenges, of being known as this person who transformed things. So whatever industry or field that you become a part of, you may take something and make it new again. So if you have a broken table, you know what I'm saying, you might take that table and sand it down, repaint it, and make it new again. That idea of bringing things back to life. Similar to Libra, but Libra, everything is still alive, and Libra just adding more things to it. But you, at this point in Scorpio in the 10th house, you walk into an industry field and everything's dead already. There's zombies walking around. It's lifeless. The industry has nothing to it that would even show that it has any business left. A transformative you take in your field that creates a new legacy that you have created. And typically it may not even be your own thing. You might take somebody else's thing that they drove into the ground or neglected and make it better again. The other thing is that it could be you. It could be you and your personal brand that you transform and make better again, which means, if you're fat, you're skinny. If you're skinny, you're fat. If you're rich, then you're poor. If you're poor, then you're rich. But typically, you want to go from poor to rich. So a rags to riches legacy can happen in Scorpio in the 10th house. Your heaven on earth is that there is nothing manifested around you that shows poverty, that shows that there was any problem there before. Your heaven on earth is that with your own two hands, or with the powerful mindset that you had and vision that you had, and with somebody else's stuff, you were able to create something new, and be able to claim it for your own. So your heaven on earth is to not do by yourself, but to know that you did it, to know that you have the power to bring life back, to bring something back to life. And that kind of legacy is something that um, people are going to emulate and be able to use again and again and again, because Scorpio is the energy of the cycle. And it's like either you continue the same cycle or you create new cycles. And I think with Scorpio in the 10th house, you have a karmic duty to create a new cycle in whatever it is that you are pursuing in life. Hi, Isbree. How are you? I'm well. Okay, now we have Sagittarius in the 10th house. If you were born with Sagittarius in the 10th house, then your legacy is really connected to philosophy. It's connected to being a teacher, and lessons about life, wisdom lessons, and training people and coaching people, because Sagittarius is that energy of taking what you know and delivering it to people in which they can digest it, in which they can um, understand it. And I think that this is where Sag and Capricorn, well, the Sag and Saturnian energy, right? Sag in the 10th house, the Saturn energy can hold Sag and close it in, making it less abundant, making it less wanting to spread its knowledge and having to force it down just one pathway. So with Sagittarius in the 10th house, your heaven on earth becomes getting through to anybody, getting anyone to actually listen and be coached by you and be and respect you for that. You want respect for your knowledge in the 10th house. Even if you don't have credibility behind it. It's just with the mindset that you have to gain that respect. And this comes through hard work of training, coaching, training, and coaching again. And if it's not with someone else, then it will be your own training and coaching in which you could showcase your lifestyle, showcase your way, right? Because you're trying to create credibility without having to look in the past. So the whole thing is about showing now the process of how you have come to this wisdom. Um, it's not scientific like Aquarius, but it's demonstrative. It's like watching, like those shows online where they like sell you purses and shirts or whatever. Everything about Sagittarius in the 10th house is about someone having a learning experience when they're with you. And so your legacy is going to be tied to that learning experience. This is something that can last for a long time because people are constantly going to be needing to resource what it is that you have left behind. So this is a very important placement. And very often it is a lucky placement for some people because it's just about getting you there. Like I said, credibility is not always as important. It's more about the fact that you're just doing, that you're taking action, that you're taking activity, that you're teaching, that you're demonstrating. And this becomes so prominent. That action that you take, people will follow it, people will learn from it. So you also want to take in consideration that people are going to know who you are for a long time because they'll reference your name and reference the things that you created and you left for them. So your audience abilities are vast, and they're vast in this lifetime and in the future lifetimes. So that's Sagittarius in the 10th house. I'm about to go over Aquarius Midheaven. Chris Curry, Sag in the 10th here. Welcome, welcome. Question: I have a chart. Which chart are we going by? Because I heard that the most accurate is a sidereal chart. The sidereal chart, you should check out my video. I have a video on Eastern versus Western astrology, in which I'll explain to you the differences because they're both accurate, but they both are just two different systems. And you have to understand the two different ones to decide which one you like the most, but you can use either one. So this applies whether you're Sag in sidereal or if you're Sag in the 10th house in tropical astrology. Okay. Okay. So moving forward, we've just done Sag. That's Jupiterian energy in the 10th house. The next one is going to be Capricorn. Now, this is Capricorn's natural placement to be in the 10th house. So, Capricorn in the 10th house, the heaven on earth is hard work, okay? And you're hoping that everyone else is matching that hard work. I think that people who have Capricorn placements, strong Capricorn in their chart, period, they want the value to be hard work. And sometimes when you have people like Sag who just came behind you, I mean, they worked hard too, but it naturally came to them the minute that they took action. I think that with Capricorn, that doesn't happen for you. And so the legacy that you leave behind is the hard work that you did. And your heaven on earth is achieving something after doing a lot of hard work, because that's the biggest thing that you're here to prove. You're here to take down this energy of I live, so I'm great. And you're here to say, no, I live and I have something to prove and I got to go for it. And so Capricorn in the 10th house has to show that. They have to show that they did it and then they got what they wanted and achieved. And their legacy isn't just about the success, but it's about the process to success. It's about the parts that people don't see about you and the grit that you had to go through and the hardships that you had to go to. So Capricorn in the 10th house brings out the challenges more to the surface. Some placements have that as well. Like Gemini might have some of that because it's about sharing information with Gemini. But with Capricorn, it is your challenges will become public. So whatever is a way in which an avenue in which things become public in your industry, it'll be through your challenges. So don't be afraid of the fact that you are not always going to be seen in a good light. And I think that Capricorn in 10th house, you already know that. So you're not trying to be a people pleaser. Your legacy is not about making everybody like me. Your legacy is about doing the work. And that becomes your strongest weight, right? So when you're compared to other people in your field and industry, it will always be about, for instance, running. Who did the fastest run? Who did the most laps? Who was here for longest? What was their experience like? What everything your whole record always comes into play with Capricorn in the 10th house. And so seniority, things like seniority, things like lasting a long time, things like being around for a long time, they all are very important. So it's also about weighing in the time spent doing the thing that you do that grants you success. Certain celebrities are celebrities, right? And they're celebrities overnight. And then there's celebrities who have worked for decades, right? Capricorn energy is honoring that celebrity that I've known since I was 15 years old. And now I'm 40. You know what I'm saying? So, Capricorn, that's how you leave your legacy. And that's your heaven on earth, is to wait it out, to work it out in time and through time. Okay. So next is Aquarius. Aquarius in the 10th house. Now, Aquarius is an energy that's about social networks, connecting to people, and bringing everyone together to make the world a better place. But at the same time, you have to change something. That energy of coming together with people and making the world better messes up what was there before. So, Aquarius energy in the 10th house is about leaving a legacy of the shift that you made. So you may be known more for creating problems, like creating not problems, but creating upheaval. That's the classic word for Uranus is upheaval. That things were energy because they take things and they old and make it into something new. They create new earthquakes into situations so that you can expose what network or what system or what organization is not working and then infiltrate it or put in glue or fix it up so that it's better, fix it up so that you have a whole different type of organization. So, yeah, Aquarius energy is sometimes difficult for interpreting, but in the 10th house, it's actually all about making the shift, making the change. Exactly, like a problem solver. And the shift and the change is effective to a lot of people at that time. So, Aquarius is heaven on earth, right? Their midhaven, their heaven on earth is about having that support, having those people while they're doing that shaking up of things, that friendship, that network of people in your career, in your legacy. Like, who is it that you bring around with you when you are about to shake things up? Who is it that is your clan, your crew, your clique, your society that backs you up on the thing that you are changing, right? It becomes a brand, it becomes something that people could wear your gear. This is where people wear your merch because you represent a movement, you represent a change, you represent a shift. And so your heaven on earth is about that connection to those people, right? This is examples of this is like protesting. If you went protesting and you all like wore the same emblem or the same costume or something like that. This is about I mean, protesting is just one example, but that's something where you're connected with people, but you're the one who's leading the shift. You know what I'm saying? Going against something that has been there for a long time. That's that energy of Aquarius, right? But it could be anything. You could be creating just a brand new movement, right? Something that allows people who have to be hidden or people who feel like outcasts or people who feel like they don't belong, you creating that place for them, where people who feel like they can belong can exist, and you guys create an order and a name and a logo, and now you're remembered forever because you guys created a shift, a change in society, a change in society views just because of your presence of being together as one. So that is Aquarius in the 10th house. Very, very powerful placement. And one of the energies that we use like in our everyday life. A lot of people do use it. Gemini, Midheaven, yes, I did already. After Pisces will be done, and you can go back and see it, and I'll probably add timestamps as well. You're asking about career. I think I'll do career industry that you want, knowing how to be the star in your industry. You get that through the avenue of your 10th house. Okay, so the next one is going to be Pisces. Pisces in the 10th house is similar to Sagittarius, in which credibility isn't always available. Or what happens with Pisces is because Pisces has wisdom, Sag, but also like proof that they've been doing this, they naturally gain great success in the 10th house. And this is typically through entertainment as well, music and poetry and dancing, painting. Pisces in the 10th house is like coasting in life. And coasting in life means not having to always submit to the harshness of the Saturnian energy of the 10th house, which really wants you to be disciplined and take this seriously. But Pisces in the 10th house, similar to Gemini, it's a fact that you're not so serious that actually makes you very appealing to people. It's about the fact that you become a scapegoat for people in the 10th house, and your legacy is about that scapegoat. It's about, well, how did they get there? How did they coast? How did they um you know how did they enjoy dealing with the world when the world is such a harsh and cold place? How did they stay positive? How did they stay spiritual? How did they stay in sync? Right. And sometimes it will be the fall of you, like the detriment of you, the parts of you that aren't as likable, that actually becomes very likable in the 10th house. So your legacy is to show people that consciousness and stillness can be acquired, can help you acquire success rather than just moving and getting everything all the time. That the coasting energy of the Neptunian energy of Pisces being in the 10th house is all about like chilling and enjoying things and just seeing what comes in, seeing what floats out. It's a relief of anxiety. is the legacy, a relief of being so about the world. The 10th house is the world. It's you in the world and how you find heaven in this world. And with Pisces, it's like you are heaven because you're already not trying so damn hard. You're not locked into this human experience of these human roles and rules. Okay. And so you can do whatever you want. And it is lucky, but it's also lucky in the sense that you can actually gain really great accolades just by being present, just by being that peace to other people. And you gain your success by being peace to other people in your field, by being that ear that your boss can talk to, because that ear that the boss talks to and tells their therapy to, and sometimes it's too much, you're not going to want to hear that, but the example of that is that people want you around. They don't want to get rid of you, they don't want to outcast you. You are that thing for them, that thing that makes keeps them going. And your legacy is that you help people keep going, that you're therapy to people, you're the reminder of just being present, of just coasting, of just more than enjoying, of just being, is so much more powerful. Now, Pisces in the 10th house can also invite more ancestral, spiritual things into the world, right? You can be a channel for the ancestors, you can be a channel, a psychic channel for the elemental spirits. You can be not of this world, you could be very exotic, very alien like, between Aquarius and Pisces, but definitely when Pisces is in the 10th house. And it's that also intriguing, and the legacy that you can leave behind. Being a vessel for the people between this world and the next world is a Piscean energy. And in the 10th house, you're known for it. It's your legacy, right? And you help people to deal with death better. You help people to deal with mourning better. You help people to deal with the things that aren't you know, so talk. Hi, what's up? What's up? Thank you so much. Thank you, 5e Angels. I hope I'm saying it right. Yes, Carla, I did do Scorpio, but I'm about to end. So when I end, you'll be able to scroll back and I'll add timestamps if you want to come back later. So that is my take on the 10th house, in which you want to do, and then find your 10th house in your chart with the astrology sign that's in your 10th house, and then you can use that to help guide you to get it. And that's how I like to approach it. But we can definitely do a part two, part three, if you guys would like, talking about the planets that could be there, talking about possible careers that can be there, maybe even analyzing some charts. So thank you. Thank you for all of your support. I appreciate you all, for even stomaching, everything that I'm saying.